Hello, welcome. If you click on this video, you are probably new to Unmatched. In which case, welcome buddy. We are welcoming you open-handed and ready to introduce you to this wonderful game. You could also click on this video because you are my viewer. You subscribe to me. If in this case, then you are probably a total giga chat, and thank you so much for this. But yeah, today I will make it a tier list, straight up to the point. It will be the complexity tier. Recently I was thinking to myself that I should create something for either beginner players and advanced players. Because if you click on this video as we said, as a beginner player, welcome, first of all. Second of all, you're probably looking for fighters you want to play. And then you look at the roster and you are like, oh wow, there are so many of them. Which one should I choose? Which one is like more or less complex? If you are experienced in board games, maybe you are like, oh, I don't want these basic fighters, I want someone that is like complex enough to like exercise my brain, but not to destroy my brain, to like overcook it. and yeah, that's the thing. And if you are a newer player, you probably know that some other games, like for example Dice Throne, have those complexity like ranks for their fighters. In Dice Throne they are represented in those 5 tiers of complexity, and in Unmatched we don't really have something like that. That's why I was thinking to myself, I should probably make something like this. Maybe in the future I will create even something like maybe not a website, but you know, some place where I will put all of those fighters and rank them by their complexity, so they will be like, so the broader audience will be able to see it, but never mind. And that's the first idea why I created this video. Because yeah, for the newer players there is nothing like the complexity tier. And this video I hope will be serving as something like that. I don't know if anybody created something similar to it. Probably they did. But I don't care, I want to make my own. And if you are not a new player, you are just watching my videos, or just click it out of curiosity, then hello man again, you are awesome. And second of all, it's also like I also will be talking some things that might be interesting for the like advanced players, for players that played probably all of those fighters or even half of the roster and they know what certain characters are doing. And in this case I think you will find something new, or I don't know, I hope it will be entertaining for you. Just that's it. Yes. And let's go straight up to the videos. Not the videos on my fucking to the tiers. I wasn't really like creative about them. I just wanted to make them plain and very like easy to understand. So it's not like you click on this video you're like, oh my god, why are there like 10 tiers? I am confused now, I'm leaving this guy, he's stupid. Yeah, that's like, you know, respectable. you might even do this without it. But yeah, I created those tiers in that way, and I will explain them one by one. First of all is easy peasy lemon squeezy. This is the fighter that you can probably pick and without knowing any board games and just straight up understand everything. Just go in, hit the opponent, defend, sometimes do some fancy things, but not too fancy to like make you think too much about what you are doing. Those are just the easiest of the easiest fighters. They are just very simple to understand, their ability is for the most part very straightforward, like for example, I don't know, deal 1 damage, move 1 space, something like that, you know, very like easy stuff. So probably this is probably the best tier for the players that are new to board games, because then you will just go to this tier list, you will see the easy peasy, and you can pick those fighters. I will guarantee to you that you will be like you will understand what's going on. And believe me, I was doing it so many times because I don't really have a lot of friends that are playing board games, and I wanted to introduce them to Unmatched. So I was thinking a lot about which characters should I give to them, so they will just understand what's going on. And that's the easy peasy tier, to introduce new players to board games and Unmatched overall. Then we got you played board games before. This is the tier that is a little more complex. It's not like something totally different. The difference is that those fighters are getting more and more like difficult to control. It's not like in easy peasy tier that you can just play your cards and probably win the game without thinking. In this tier, if you want to win, you actually have to know how to combine those cards in the proper way. I don't want to give the examples because we would sit like here forever, so fuck the examples. And yeah, so it's basically like the easy peasy, but it's not as easy peasy. It's not like you are on autopilot while playing this character. You need to think to like win the game a little. Still, it's very like great for the beginners. They're still like proper fighters for beginners. Basic character, in my opinion, is a hero that it's not like too complex, but it's not actually he is not easy either. It's something between. Those are fighters that if you will make mistake, you will be punished. If you will like play like them correctly, you will get results that you were expecting. And overall, this tier is the place where you will start to realize that some of those fighters are actually complex, or their mechanics are not as simple as before in those tiers with those fighters. So yeah, this is the basic tier. I don't know how to describe it otherwise. It's basically like I said, you are not. This is the fighters that are not easy, but they are not like you will. There will not be a scenario where you will pick this fighter and you will just die because you played your cards in the proper order or you wasted your blocks and now you're dead. No, no, no. So those are characters that are, you know, starting to be challenging. They're just basic, but they're starting to be challenging, but they're still like easy in their like complexity. Next one is You're Cooked, and this is very dramatic, but this is the first tier where you actually have to know what you are doing. Like, it's not like you will pick these fighters and be like, oh, I will just do some random things and I will win. It goes for the basic characters too, but with You Are Cooked characters, you also have to find all of those things that will eventually give you a victory. So it's not like you can just slap your random cards in the opponent and expect to win, like here. You need to find proper cards and then think about actions and how to combine those cards to find this win condition that the game designers like wanted you to create. That's the best description. You are not able to like win with this character by just going in and slapping the opponent and defending. Now you have to find proper card combination that was designed to kill the opponent. And that's pretty much it. It's far more like complex than those previous ones. It's not that much more complex, but yeah, I will just not like fuck with you. It's like straight up like difficult tier. If I would call it like normally, not some brain rot shit like here, it would be difficult tier. And then we got guide is mandatory, and this letter is pissing me off because I wasn't able to put it in this lane. Why? Why tier list maker? Guide is mandatory is basically a fighter that you are not able to win without a guide. There are many characters that like that. I myself, when I bought certain boxes and tried the like different fighters from that boxes, I myself find myself again looking for guides for them because I was so confused and I was never able to like win with them. So I have to go and check out guides so I could even be able to play the fighter, because otherwise I would just get smoked by even the something like easy peasy character on very like weak characters, like Buffy said. So guide is mandatory. There will not be that many fighters in this tier, I will tell you it right off the bat, but yeah, you will just not win if you are going for the fun time with friends. And let's say those friends are even experienced, you are experienced. Let's say you played like, I don't know, 1/3 of the roster and you are trying some fighter that is in this tier. You will probably not win the game because you don't know what's going on. You don't know what certain cards are like designed to do, when you should do like use them, in which circumstances, as which character, which sidekick, which what. So when to play them, combo with what cards should you combo them. Yeah, this tier is basically for only the players that are invested in Unmatched, like all of those big boys, those hardcore players that just want to, that are felt in love with this game. So yeah, this tier is guide is mandatory. Is just, I would call it impossible for like beginners. If I would put a normal normal name in here and not some clickbaity shit. Yeah. I hope it was clear enough what certain tier represents, and now we'll probably jump straight up to fighters. Also, you may be curious, yeah, this video, I don't know now, but I think it will probably take about 2 hours also. And I will split it in 2 parts. Again, probably, because I will die if I record it in one go. Yeah. So, for people that were not watching my first tier list about character classes and all, I will probably put it here. So, if you are curious, you can check it out. Very cool video, I think. If you're like more invested in Unmatched, you should probably check that one instead of this one. But this one, I will try to give some cool like things, like explanations about certain fighters, even if they're very basic. I'll try my best to explain them. But yeah, it will be probably 2 hours. So for all people that are new here, and your fighter is not on this list, just wait like a week or two and I will be there with the part 2, I hope. We did it with the first tier list, and I will be doing this with this tier list. Yeah, and also, while talking about those characters, I am not counting anything like competitive viability, because this video is not meant to be for competitive players. If I would pick someone like, I don't know, Little Red, she's not as complex, but if you want to play her competitively, she is like impossible tier. She's so high. And I'm not ranking them by this. Maybe in the future I'll do some competitive complexity tier list, but nah, that's not the point, man. In this video, man, I want to just show the new players how complex certain fighters are. And I should probably shut up and just go straight up to it, because I don't want it to go for an extra like 20 minutes. Yeah, so let's go. First set, Battle of Legends. Many people like first set, and we start with the King Arthur. King Arthur! Oh my god! Oh, what a weird character. Let me think. He's definitely not a easy peasy. But I think you played board games before. Yeah, you played board games before for sure. So if you are playing King Arthur, he is very like easy to pilot because he has a lot of aspects that are very beginner friendly. They are not as beginner friendly, but we'll get to why he's not beginner friendly, like easy peasy. First of all, you got a lot of health. So if you are playing, if you are new to a game, but if you're new to the game, this huge health bar will just save your life. And that's the thing we're looking for when we are searching for the character that is best for the new players. And also, your blocks are actually good. They are not crazy, but they're good. You got 4 value blocks, you got 3 value blocks. And if you will just combine it with your huge health bar, you are chunky boy, then you will see that you will just not die that quickly, and that's awesome because if you're a new player, you will just not get rushed that quick if you don't have blocks, and that's why. That's first thing that is going for him to be the more of the beginner friendly fighter. What else? Your ability is very straightforward. It's not as straightforward, but it's easy if you are just playing him for fun. Because in the ruling they will explain to you what boosting actually is, and then you will just play your card, boost it first time, and now you will understand what's going on. And because of his ability, he is also not easy peasy. Because if you are a new player, you may think to yourself, okay, so I can boost every turn with my cards, my attacks with my cards, and then I'll be hitting the opponent with bigger damage, and he will die faster. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, you will run out of cards very quickly, and that will be punishing for you. It will not be that punishing to you though, that much though, because you have big health bar and your blocks are decent, like I said, but still, if it's very like tempting for new players to boost every attack, and that's why he's not as like simple, like easy peasy. Also, there are a lot of Merlin cards that can be like very difficult for to understand for newer players. That's why I put him, you played board games before, because if you played board games before, you probably understand what Merlin cards are actually doing. If you haven't played board games before, then you have a problem, because now you have this huge text in front of you, and you have to like think to yourself, oh, what does it mean that I deal 2 damage to one fighter and then to other fighter that is in his zone, close to him, like adjacent to him? What does it mean? For us it is like very simple, but if you are playing with someone that is new to the to board games, this is not that simple. They will just get like, they will not understand what to do. And that's why I think he is in this tier. Also, the ability is the same. Oh my god, what's going on? Okay. Also, the ability, it's very similar case to it. Because if you're a, nerdy board gamer, like advanced board gamer, maybe not advanced, but you played board games before, you know what strategy is. Then you will just know when to boost and when not to boost, because you will understand this whole like scenario, this whole like situation of I will boost now because I have the resources. But if you are a newer player, you will be like, oh, I can just play it and deal you damage. And I know it's fun, but unfortunately, then you will probably get slapped into the ass by the opponent so high that you will just lose half of your health. Yeah. And I'm not even talking about Excalibur, but because if you are a beginner player, you will never go for something like OTK Excalibur. Like never. The best thing scenario is that you will just hit the opponent with it and then you realize that you can boost it up to 9. So yeah, that's it. So overall, he is beginner friendly because of his huge health bar, good blocks, overall good values, and yeah, simplicity of those cards that are not very complex. But I would not see is like beginner players like using him to the and understand him fully. I played once with my dad, and I gave him King Arthur, and sometimes he had like to show the card to me and be like, what does it mean, because he wasn't able to like understand the text, what like the effects of it. And yeah, that's why you need to be a board gamer, but still easy character. Medusa. Oh, oh my god, Medusa. Ah. Hmm. She is not that complex though. And that's the thing, because a lot of people are just looking at her and be like, okay, Medusa is a very like powerful competitive fighter. And I like have to if I want to play Medusa, I have to know how to play her competitively. But nah, if you're a newer player and you picked Medusa, I think easy peasy. Yeah, she is easy peasy. The only thing that is complex about her is I don't know, putting harpies in other spaces, like moving them, and Medusa. But if you are a board like new player, you don't need to like play them optimally. You will understand very quickly that if you will surround yourself with harpies, you are basically having a shield. And if you are surrounding opponent with harpies, you are trapping him. So you don't even need to be a board gamer. You will just understand that you don't even need to do this. Because yeah, okay, let's go through her deck and ability. Ability is very easy. Nothing special, like nothing important. It's powerful ability in the competitive game. But if you will look at her, like just by difficulty, the complexity, this ability is like so easy. There is nothing complex about it. The only thing that is complex about it is what is the zone. And if you read the rule book, you know what the zone is. And that's it. And now we go to the cards. Her cards are very easy. You are drawing cards, you are moving, You are discarding opponent's card. You are moving again. You are dealing damage sometimes. You know, your scheme and the Gaze of Stone. You're just dealing damage, more damage. It says to you, deal damage. You're drawing cards, and that's it. Nothing, like nothing more. And yeah, like taking Harpy back that is defeated, and that's it. She's very easy. There is nothing complex about this hero. However, that's the hero that I would call the very low skill floor, but like absolutely high skill ceiling. Skill floor is how much skill you need to play the fighter. You know to play the fighter. But skill ceiling is the point how much time have you spent with the fighter to master it, to play it optimally and the best level. And I think skill ceiling is very high, but skill floor is very low because her cards are just decent. You have a lot of health, 16 health. You got a lot of 3 value blocks, you got 4 value blocks. You have these cards, which for new players are very important, because if you are also discarding opponent's card, he's not able to like pressure you that like often. So you will have more time to just look at your cards. The game will not be that quick because you will be discarding the opponent's cards. You will be just chilling in the corner. You have harpies, so opponent will need like to first of all go through them, and that's it. Nothing special. She is easy peasy. Second shots, and also if you read the rule book, you probably know what the boosting is. And in Medusa's case, it's not like King Arthur that you can just basically overboost yourself to the point that you have no cards in hand. No. With Medusa you have only 3-second shots, but they're powerful. And even if you play second shot with the card that boost value is 1, it's still 4. It's so forgivable. Like, very forgivable. The game will basically correct all your mistakes while you are playing this character. And that's why she's also so easy in competitive. Like, so good and competitive, not easy. Easy also, but good and competitive. Because her basic stats are very good. To the point that the newer player will just understand everything what's going on. And that's the thing that we want when we are giving a character to a newer player. The only complex thing is moving sidekicks, but you don't even need to place them like optimally. You can just put them in different places for fun and play the cards. And your ability is also very beginner friendly because opponent will be attacking you, and you will always at the beginning of your turn tell him, man, I'm dealing you damage. And he'll be like, oh, I forgot you have this ability. And the next turn will be like, you take 1 damage. Oh, I forget again. And it will go for the like your whole game, and he will just die eventually. Okay, so that's Medusa. Alice. Oh, Alice. Alice, unfortunately, Alice is probably the most complex out of the first box. Yep, because she is the first character that requires from you to understand the tactics, the mechanics of the game. Her ability is not as simple as those ones. With her ability, if you will not use this ability correctly, you will get punished. You will just get punished, and it's not to the point that you are cooked. For sure, you are not cooked if you are like big Alice while opponent is aggroing you down. However, it will hurt. And yeah, it also will take you a while to understand that Alice is a character that always wants to be at her peak form. If she's not at her big form, she will lose so much damage. And if you're a newer player, you might be just throwing momentous shifts and skirmishes on her small form, and it will be awful because now you are losing so much damage. And also, the fact that your form switch is basically skill dependent, let's be honest, it's skill dependent because newer player will be like playing those switch form cards on defense because he will be scared of attacks. But later he will realize that now he is small and he is not dealing damage. He is blocking damage very high, but he is not able to go back to big allies. What does it mean? It means he is not dealing damage now. And that's very problematic because now you will just not win the game. Her cards are also very punishing. She doesn't really have a lot of those decent blocks unless she's small, and her health is actually low. And that's the thing that we don't want if you are giving a character to a newer player, because he will just fall into the madness. It's very thematic, but it's not cool. He will just play Alice, switch form constantly, in the wrong time. He will not understand what card he should use in which form and why. Why he should use momentous shift on offense with big allies. All of this. Also, Jabberwock is very difficult to pilot, I would say. I'm gonna be honest with you, he is difficult to pilot. This beast needs taming. What the This beast needs taming. So yeah. And in the end of the game, when he will just die, he will be just, what the fuck have I just played? Because it will be total madness, switching form all the time, never in the proper time. She is actually difficult. You are not cooked probably, but it's the first ability that I would say is actually challenging, and you need to understand. You will still be fine if you will play her in this way, that sometimes you're big, sometimes you're small, but eventually you will realize that you are lacking damage. Why you are lacking damage? Because you are switching your forms in the wrong time. So yeah, nothing more to say. And also her cards are very punishing. They are not as simple and as life-saving and forgiving like those cards with Medusas. And Sinbad actually is probably easy peasy. I think he's easy peasy. Maybe here. Nah, he's easy peasy. He is very simple because, first of all, you have big health bar. Not gigantic health bar, but 15 health is enough to survive the game. Your blocks are very good. A lot of 4 value blocks, a lot of 3 value blocks. And your attacks are actually scary. The only thing that is difficult about him are his voyages. But even if you're a newer player, you will just read this card and you can even not read it, just hit the opponent with it, and it will do something, because Voyage's effects are actually strong. And if you will not even stack them up, they're still doing a lot. And because of that, he is very good at hitting the opponent. A lot of his attacks are very good, without any conditions. For example, momentous shift, you can say it's conditional to deal 5 damage. But basically, the newer player will realize that moving +1 for each voyage is so strong that he will maneuver every turn and hit you every turn. So momentous shift will like always work. And then he will be hitting you with something like those voyages more and more. His movement will be higher, and now he will just win. Straight up. And yeah, that's very easy. You may argue with me that ability is somewhat difficult to understand, but I think his ability is actually very straightforward. You can just give him to newer player. He will read it, and he will be like, "Oh, so I have to play those 2 value cards, red cards, and I will be moving faster, and that's cool." That's basically the ability. Then he will read one of those like red 2 value cards, and he will realize that they are adding themselves when it comes to damage. So he will be now encouraged to play more of those red 2 value cards, and that's probably it. It's very simple, it's very easy, and he will not die because now he know that he can run away from you. He don't need to like understand, he doesn't need to understand this whole ruling of movement and then boosting to go further. Nah, he can just go. And that's why Sinbad is very like popular fighter among newer players, because they don't need to understand a lot of those rules, because Sinbad is just bypassing them. The only thing they need to understand is to block and hit, and eventually they will win because Sinbad's dex is very aggressive. And yeah, even they will hitting you with something like those 3 value versatiles, like eventually the opponent will just run out of defenses, and they will never run out of cards. I mean, if you're playing Sinbad, you will never run out of cards because he has a lot of cards. So the newer players will not like, even if they will just go in and hit you like all the time, they will just not run out of cards because they are playing Sinbad. I think he's here. Maybe here because Medusa is overall like her basic stats are busted, but Sinbad's basic stats are also busted. Robin Hood. Ooh. Oh my god, Robin Hood. You're cooked. You're cooked. Yep. You are cooked. Robin Hood is the character that basically screams, I am a competitive fighter. Because if you look at his ability, you will realize that it's not that simple. And for the newer players, it will be like, oh, but why should I just jump away if I can just shoot you in the next turn? Yeah, you see the mindset. And then you have 4 outlaws. And yeah, you have to know how to move them. You have like 13 health and basically no good blocks, so you will die very quickly. Then you have to understand that outlaws are melee and Robin is ranged. So yeah, you have to understand how to use it to your advantage, and that's basically very difficult if you are a newer player. So now we are here. And why are you cooked? Like we said, it's basically a difficult tier, the like hard one. First of all is power creep. Power creep. Robin Hood nowadays is unfortunately not doing well. He was one of the first fighters that were like introduced to Unmatched, and his deck is unfortunately not that great now. He is still a good aggressive character, but unfortunately a lot of those newer fighters will just mop the floor with you. And the only moment when you can play the Robin Hood on the proper level and use his deck in the good way is when you will just absolutely master him. And that's not a thing that is easy. He's very complex. Let's sum it up. First of all, a lot of sidekicks. So we have to constantly think strategically how to surrender the opponent. Second of all, a lot of you have very little health, very little blocks. That's very bad. Your attacks are okay, but they are not awesome. It's not like they will win you the game by just existing. No, you have to know when to use them and how to use them. All of those cards. If you will just go in and hit the opponent with your 5 value attack, okay, it's fine. But now you have to almost always just jump away or something. And if you don't know how to do this, how to properly do this, the opponent will just go in and hit you. And if you will block for free, I don't know, but you will take probably a lot of damage. And you will see that it is repeating itself so many times that will just die. So yeah, those cards, those attack cards are not great. Highway Robbery is awesome. And that's probably the best thing. However, again, if you just lose Outlaws, Highway Robbery is not working. With Medusa, as we discussed, you could just say, fuck it, Harpies dies. Because I don't want to block with them. You can do this. And you will probably be fine. With Robin Hood, if the Outlaws will die, you are losing so much damage, you are losing your shields. If they are down, you are probably down in the next 3-4 turns, unfortunately. Because you will not block for high enough to stop everything from the opponent. That's why Outlaws are there, but you can't just be okay, I will sacrifice him. You have always make the decision about, do I want to sacrifice him? Is it a good idea? And the answer is sometimes very hard to realize, how to discover. That's why I'm putting him here. He is very high skilled fighter. You have to understand basically all of those multi-sidekicks characters, how they work, when to use those sidekicks. You have to understand the ability and use it in the best way, always having it at the back of your head. You have to somewhat use all of those low value attacks to kill the opponent, so the game will not just go, okay, I'm just going in and hitting you. No, you have to use it with your brain on constantly. Unfortunately, he is difficult in my eyes, and also the fact that he got power crept is not helping it. Robin Hood is difficult. Who is not difficult is Bigfoot. Bigfoot is easy peasy, monkey unga bunga, hit you with lock thing. I don't want to sit on him for too long. He is easy peasy because his blocks are very high and his attacks are very high. You may say that he is in... You played board games, but when you think about this, newer player doesn't really need to read all of those cards. They are just good. He'll just see the number and hit the opponent with 4. He will just look at the 6 value attack and he will just 6 value attack, and you blocked it with something like 3 and you are taking 3 damage, and he again I go and smack 6, and the opponent is taking 3 extra damage. Then he will somehow read this Jekyll card and me go close and hit you 2 damage, and you can do nothing about it. You see? And then you are going close to him. He has 16 health, by the way. and opponent is hitting you. What this player, Unga Bunga monkey player, is doing? He is playing his for value. For value. You deal nothing. And you are going in and slapping him with some cool effect, like, maybe it will do some damage, whatever. Monkey plays blue free. Cancel effects. Nothing happened. You see? Yeah, that's it. Also, he has card draw. Like, decent card draw. Decent movement, free value movement. So it's like Sinbad. You don't need to understand the ruling of boosting the movement and everything. Monkey just go in and monkey is fast. Yeah, he's easy. Like, his stats are very high, and that will make newer players win with him straight up. Muldoon! Oh, Muldoon! Oh yeah, oh my god. Everybody probably is expecting me to put him in this tier. But I disagree. You are cooked. There are so many things going for Muldoon, however, I don't think that you are just straight up fucked up, screwed up when you picked him. Because if you are experienced, if you picked him and you read the ability, you will understand what's going on. That you will understand this whole concept of trapping the opponent, dealing him damage with the traps, building this whole little base in some place on the map, and then just sit there, sending your workers to deal little damage and all. But there's a problem. Your deck. Your deck is not the best, unfortunately. Your deck is built up with all of those low value attacks, blocks. The highest value cards you have is 4 value for blue, versatile, and attack. And a lot of those cards are requiring for you to do some side activity, like for example putting traps close to the opponent, playing them first turn, or something like that, or boosting. So this deck is not easy, it's not simple for sure. You have very reliable blocks, like the 4 value blue attack or 4 value versatile. You have a lot of sidekicks, so you'll not die that easy. But this whole idea of traps basically turns to be this thing that you just needs to deal this 8 damage every turn. And that's the challenge. And that's why he's challenging. You are cooked if you are controlling him, because your deck is nerfed in my eyes, but it's nerfed because your traps are already dealing so much damage to the opponent that your deck needs to be balanced around them. That's why you have a lot of cards that are sometimes very trash, especially for the newer players. All of his cards will be so difficult to understand for newer players. Except Feint and Regroup, I don't know if there is any card that will be just so simple. There is no card in his deck that is just deal 5 damage, deal 4 damage, deal 3 damage, nothing like that. He has all of those cards that are doing some fancy things, and they are doing those fancy things if you will just meet certain conditions. And for newer player, in my opinion, it's too much. It's too much because you are not only playing in your hand with your cards, you are also playing on the board more than all of those fighters. He's higher. More than all of those fighters, because the traps are basically, if you don't know how to place traps, you will be having a terrible time, let me tell you that. And this fighter is overall very challenging. It's like you are combining Robin Hood with, I don't know, with maybe King Arthur decision making of Ali or Alice decision making. Yeah, probably Alice and Robin. Because if you're screwed up as Maldun, you know all of his traps, if you just place them in the wrong place, in the wrong time, they will just never be activated. And now you lost 1 damage. Also, if you're playing against player that knows the game, he probably knows about overdrawing you. So if you don't know how to counter it, I'm sorry, but you will probably like overdraw your hand, and you will need to discard your cards because he will be like stepping into your traps on purpose. And yeah, in my eyes, he's actually difficult. You are cooked. You're so cooked while playing him. Raptors. Oh my god, it's difficult because if you are thinking about competitive play, on like if you're thinking about players that play this game a lot, you all know that Raptors are very simple. The game plan is very simple, but they're not. They're actually not. If you are new to the game, you will just look at them and you're like, oh, I have 3 fighters, and all of them can move 3 spaces. That's cool. And what now? Yeah, I don't have blocks in my hand. I don't have I have a lot of red cards, but if they will hit me, I will die. And in my eyes, it's similar to like Alice. They are basic, but they are not like. I was thinking about putting them. You played board games before, but so yeah, so they're forgiving. But the Raptors are not forgiving at all. If you will just not understand how to kill the opponent in 1 turn, if you will not understand that you need to back off, if you will not understand that basically 1 raptor death means you lose the game, you lost the game, then yeah, it's problematic. You need to learn with them something. That's why they're basic character, but they are probably more difficult than Alice. Like for sure. You see this, there's another reason for it. You have low health, you have 3 fighters, and opponent, if he like understands the game, your ability, he will just kill 1 of your raptors, and you will just not keep him alive if you don't know how to play this character. So either you go in and kill the opponent or just injure him to a point that he is not able to play like offense game in his turn, or you will just lose 1 raptor because you haven't killed the opponent like in the proper time. That's it. And yeah, they're basic character because still if you will go in and hit the opponent and have blocks in hand, the opponent will just panic and die. So yeah, that's a good thing, but there's always this another scenario. When you will fucked up, you're really fucked up. You are just dead. With Alice, the same. If you will fucked up your forms, you are just dead, man. But if you will just understand your forms, you can do some crazy things. And with Raptors, if you will understand your action gains and your aggressive playstyle, you will also like win the games. So yeah, that's basic. Dracula. Dracula is not actually the. Everyone would expect me probably to put him in Guide is mandatory. But he's actually not. No. He is probably also a basic character. Why so? Dracula is very complex. Like, he's very complex. I meant to put him here. He's very complex. All of his cards are actually very difficult to understand. There are a lot of text on them. There are a lot of things going on them. Like, all of his lifesteal things that he does, no, maybe not lifesteal, but all of his pink damage things are actually very complex. And We are not talking about even beasts for little, like yet. Even your abilities deal 1 damage and draw 1 card. Newer player will just not understand what it does to you and why it's there. So they will just try to go close to the opponent and hit them with this ability. And it's not like you should play him. So that's the first thing. You are baiting the newer players to do certain actions that they should not do with this character. There are some redeeming factors about him, because beast form is 6 value attack. So it's basically like you are playing the Bigfoot, but with a very weak defensive game. And you can play this beast form, and even the newer player will look at beast form and be like, oh, it will hit you for so much. I'm changing into werewolf. Ow. And he will just discard his whole hand on you, and I don't know, maybe you're dead, maybe you're not, but in my eyes, it's actually very good, even if you don't know how to do the OTK. So yeah, you have one thing that is very good by just existing. Second of all, you have Do My Bidding. Do My Bidding might be complex, but you might just play it, and it basically stops everything wrong going your way if you will just read the text. And that's what's expected from you if you want to be higher than those guys. You just need to read the cards. So, yeah. Those 2 things are just scaring you. But unfortunately, from now on, all other things are just messing with you. First of all of your schemes are complex as hell. Your auto damage scheme that heals you is like a fucking letter to read. Your savagery seduction or whatever, this one is so complex for newer players. Like, you have to understand basically the sidekicks, how to place them, how to like optimize your movement as them, just to deal some damage. You know, for the newer players, it will be just, oh, okay, that's cool, but I can just go in and hit you. Why should I just put my time to set up this 1 card? Because they don't understand the beast from Lethal yet. And this character is based around beast from Lethal, because there's the other thing that is that will just they will just face it eventually if they are playing Dracula, because he's a cool character. A lot of people might probably play him because he's Dracula, he's cool. But they will just go in, play him, and they will realize one thing. And this one thing is, I am lacking fucking damage. Why? And also there's another thing, I am fucking dying. Because I don't have blocks. I don't have a lot of blocks, in fact. And the second of all, if you don't know how to do this whole beast form lethal and use all of those ping damage, and the opponent will just not die. He will just... If you don't know how to use your scheme, your schemes basically, to deal free damage, basically with all of them, you will just not win the game. Because the only cards that are dealing damage in your deck are Beast Form, Ambush, maybe, depending where you're playing against, and this yellow scheme of Sisters. Nothing else in your deck is dealing damage. Because all the rest of those cards, maybe this for value like a versatile, but you need blocks. And this is the one thing that is very like important if you want to recommend a character to newer player. You need to find a character that has a lot of blocks, and those blocks are actually decent. Look at all of those characters. Their blocks are very good. Arthur, awesome blocks. Bigfoot, best blocks in the game probably. Medusa, a lot of good blocks. Sinbad, like half, like 3/4 of your deck are just good blocks. And Dracula, not only his blocks are very low, but you don't have a lot of them, and only do my bleeding is like good. So yeah, this is the character that is like scrapping this edge of the zone where you are going close to the guide is mandatory. He is almost there, but he's not there yet because his cards, and I mean he's working without you doing the beast from little. That's what I'm trying to say. You can win him without doing this beast from little, but it will be very difficult. And I will leave it with that. Jekyll and Hyde. Jekyll and Hyde is actually, you played games before. Yeah, straight up. He is not difficult at all. All of his cards are very simple. The only thing that you need to understand is that you are switching forms. Yeah. You don't need to understand this whole forever Hyde little. Nah, why would you? You can just go in and hit them with 5 value attacks. That's cool. You can go in, hit them with auto damage. You have a lot of those aspects that are helping newer player. Like you have a lot of health, like huge health bar that you can heal also. Your cards are simple, your blocks are high, your attacks are high, your stats are good. Why he is not easy peasy though? Because of your ability. And all of those cards that are not working if you are on the different sides. Because let's see, if newer player is playing Jekyll and Hyde, he needs to understand that there are two different things on two different texts on the left side. And this is already a very like hard thing to achieve for those players that haven't played board games before. So that's why he's in. You played board games before, because if you do, you will read those cards and you will understand that okay, this one will change me into the Hyde, and this one, after attacking, I will change into Jekyll. So you see, you are doing this little cycle, and also those players will probably know that they have to keep both type of cards in their hand. So Jekyll and Hyde cards. Yeah. But all of those cards are very simple, like nothing terrible about them. And again, I am not counting like complexity when it comes to competitive, because that's not the like focus on this video. I just imagine that newer player, maybe he played something like, I don't know, Bigfoot once at the friends tournament, and then he was like very excited, he liked Unmatched, he loved it. So he was like, okay, I will buy one set. He bought like Cobble and Fog, so good for him. And then he played Jekyll and Hyde, and I see no problem with it. Not at all. Because he will be having a lot of high blocks, like no complex cards at all. The only complex card is Duality of Man and the schemes, but that's all. The rest of his blocks are very high. He has a lot of health. So yeah, overall very good stats. But the ability is somewhat challenging. Invisible Man! Oh, my boy. Oh my god. This boy. He is probably here. Still not a mandatory guy though. Or is he? He might be actually. Yeah, he's mandatory. This is the first character that guide is mandatory. I was like struggling to place him. In which space should I place him? And I was thinking, he's not that difficult. But then I realized that we are in the different like timeline. In the past, when I was playing him, he wasn't like, you can play him in this defensive playstyles. Hitting with fives wasn't that like bad, that basic. His schemes were actually good. And he worked against all of those fighters somewhat. So you were not cooked. So you were cooked, but when it comes to difficulty, but he were not like you like didn't need to like watch the guide on anything because you will just understand that even if you will go for some basic strategy with hitting the opponent with fives, like running away, blocking a lot of things when you're on the fox, then punishing the opponent when he's close on the fox. There are a lot of thinking, but you are able to do some things. Nowadays, unfortunately, those fighters have just too much health. And their fatigue game is sometimes crazy, while they are not even a fatigue fighter. So, if you are playing Invisible Man nowadays, you have to optimize all of those cards to the like your best limits. It's not like you can just block with something because it's a block card. No, you have to like understand why are you doing this. Because one wrong card draw will mean that you will die out of fatigue, and you are Invisible Man and you are relying on fatigue. So we need to watch this guide where the guy is explaining to you when to use those schemes and that you have to use those schemes always. Then this guy will just explain to you how to use your attacks, because now you are not able in the correct times, you are not just able to just go in and hit the opponent with all of those cards and be like, okay, that's fine. No, you will just lose a lot of value, you will just lose all of those cards, and eventually you will just not win the game because you will not have damage to just finish them up. Simple as that. And I think you might put him and you are cooked if you are just owning those guys. But unfortunately, nowadays the roster is just so big that he's just actually in the very complex level. And I think it will be a while since we will put another character there. Yeah. Sherlock. Sherlock is easy you played board games before. Because I was thinking about putting him in easy peasy because his blocks are busted, his stats are busted, so yeah, you have 5 high value attacks, you have high value defenses, you have a lot of them, a lot of attacks, a lot of blocks. All of them have a lot of all of them have good effects. And your health bar is so like gigantic, it's huge. And then I realized that you also have all of those schemes that requires from you to think. That's why he's lower. That's the only reason. Because newer player will struggle to realize how powerful discarding the opponent card is, and he will probably not find this whole combo of playing one scheme and then the another scheme to just, do this woohoo big hit like auto damage shit, and now the opponent has no cards in hand. No good cards in hand. He will just not realize it. And if you played board games before, like, oh my fucking again? Oh my god. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, so if you played board games before, you will probably know how powerful discarding opponent's cards is, and also will be able to just chain it up with a lot of other things. Yeah, so that's why he is here. We need to go faster because it's already an hour of the recording, and we are probably not even close to finishing the part 1. So we'll jump to the next one. Buffy is easy peasy. Buffy is easy peasy. Nothing complex about her. The only complex thing is that you are starting the game, you are looking at those 2 options, those cards that you can just put in your deck by picking Giants of Xander, and you are just, I like this guy. and you are just picking this guy and you can play the game. And Buffy has very good stats. He has a lot of force, he has, oh my fucking gender swap. She has a lot of force, she has a lot of, maybe not good attacks, but her attacks are enough to deal with the opponent. Depending who will you pick, you will get more or less of those offensive tools. If you will pick Giles, you will be able to just discard opponent high defenses and then hit them with high attacks. So it's basically like you are more sneaky about your offense. You also have a lot of card draw, so if you are a beginner, you are just looking at this card and be like, oh, I don't have cards, I will play it. And now I have 3 more cards in hand. Well, that's good. If you are picking Xander though, you can just go Unga Bunga with 6s and 4s, and now you have all of those tools that I described to you that you are lacking. Now you own them. And you have good blocks, you have good attacks, you have healing, you have card draw, you have movement. You don't really have a good health, like her health bar is kinda low. But overall she's easy peasy. She's not more easy peasy than those guys, but she is easy peasy though. Still, because her stats are very high and all of those cards are very, very simple. I remember that I bought this set from a girl that wasn't playing board games, and she described to me, she told me that she was playing it with her boyfriend and it was very fun for them, but they are not playing it anymore. But so yeah, it's shown me that this set is very beginner friendly because those fighters are very simple. And Buffy is probably the most simple, maybe not, yeah, she's the most simple. She has just good stats, so can just give her to a beginner and he will just not die that quickly because he will be playing cards on defense, card on offense, he'll be drawing cards, he'll be moving. And also he don't need to understand this rule of you are not able to move through opposing fighters, so yeah, this is cool. Angel is another character that is easy peasy. Probably here. The problem with Angel is that all of those heroes that I described here, their ability and all is very simple, nothing special. His ability is somewhat more difficult, but it's in the end of the day, it's still the Bigfoot ability, but condition is different. Excuse me. Yeah, the condition is different. Your deck is probably one of the most simple in the whole game because you have a lot of cards that are just draw card, heal, move, and that's it. Or deal damage. Yeah, that's it. That's all. And your whole deck is like that. And the only thing that is kind of difficult about you is that you are weak. So and your blocks are ass, but you have a lot of health. So yeah, with Angel, I can see him giving to a newer player, like for sure, because you will just give him to this person and he will just go in and smack the opponent with 5s all the time without any like concerns of what this card is actually doing. And that's what we are looking for when we are searching for a character to give for our fellow new players of Unmatched. We are loving you guys. Spike, don't play him. But to be serious, he is not complex. You just played board games before. Yeah, I think here. Maybe even higher. He is probably easier. Spike, yeah, you played board games before, because the only thing that is difficult about him is that is to understand that some of his effects are working only if you are in the shadow tokens. Winning the game is actually a very different story, but his whole gimmick is simple. His stats are high, surprisingly very high. A lot of 4 values. Most of them are versatile, so you are using them on offense and on defense. So your ass is safe, and that's cool. You have a lot of card draw. So that's also cool. You will not run out of fuel. But what else? The problem is the shadow tokens. Let me tell you that you will not die quickly as him, because he has a lot of those high value blocks, high value attacks, / high value attacks. So you will be able to block a lot. Also, you got a lot of health, so that's fine. However, your ability is unfortunately impossible to use. If you are talking about the beginner player's experience, then this ability is actually good, and it will be fun for the newer player to just pick him up and see, oh, haha, I will step on my shadow token, and now I can use this and this. And that's cool. And I think for the beginner players, this character is very good, very fun, very simple, because you will just block for ages and no one will be like threatening you. So that's not he will be not threatening you because your Hive blocks. The only problem is that you will be lacking damage, unfortunately. But if you are playing against not competitive, just for fun, the opponent will be stepping on shadow tokens because they are not like running away because they want to play the game and not just run away and cheese the opponent. Yeah, like the competitive players. So they will stay from time to time on shadow tokens and just take the effects. So that's very fun for one side and for the other side. That's why he is here. He is not easy peasy because of the ability, because if you would be like all in all new player, then you will need to read all of those shadow tokens effects and combine it in your head, how to do this, into what order and all of that. But it's not as complex. That's why you played board games before, because the board gamers will understand this ability very clearly, and yeah. And then there is Willow, and Willow unfortunately she's difficult. Oh my god, she's difficult. This girl is so risky to play. You will not give her to a newer player, let me tell you that, because he will just hurt himself by playing her. He will just use all of those bad effects. He will not understand that he needs to think, oh, now I am Dark Willow and I need to change it to Good Willow, so I need to take Tara close to me. Now I can't hit the opponent. Now I have all of those weird cards that are discarding my cards, so I can't play the game because I discarded half of my deck. Nah, she's just a mess. She's super fun if you understand her, but unfortunately, you are risking so much while playing her. Even this one scheme that draws you 2 cards and deals 3 damage to a sidekick, it can hurt you. I mean Tara, it can hurt Tara, and then it discards your cards, which is there is also this another card, Black Magic, I don't remember, it also discards you 2 cards. All of those blind boost cards, we are thinking of them oh, blind boost, it's so cool, gambling, higher damage. But For newer player, if he will not understand how to set this whole uh, this whole blind boost thing, he will just lose cards. Good card. He will just lose all of those cards in no time. He will be blocking the opponent with dark magic that will blind boost away his like resurrection. So now he is not able to resurrect Tara. Tara's cards are also very difficult for them because for value and take card back is weird, and also hacker is very difficult for the newer players, and I can imagine. So she is unfortunately very difficult because of this whole negative effects on cards. All of newer players will just want to play the character and do something with it, something cool with them. But when it comes to Willow, unfortunately, she is punishing you for not playing the game as intended. And it will take you a while to understand how to like manage this whole madness thing. You will need to like sit down, read all of those cards, look all of these cards in deck and see, okay, so that's here because I can boost it up to 7. Okay, now I understand. Hacker, oh my god, now I understand why hacker is there, but it's still like very difficult to understand what to do with it. Also, some of my cards are changing me into other form of Willow, so now I have a problem because now half of my cards are just not working when I want to hit. But now I am Dark Willow and I am taking negative effects, so that's even worse. You see, that's a problem. Willow is definitely not for newer players. You cooked in fact. Yeah. Next one is the Little Rat, the fans' favorite. Oh, she's not easy. She's definitely not easy. However, I would say she's basic character. And listen. Now, you may say, oh, she's very difficult because all of her symbols, you have to line them up properly. If you are new to Unmatched, you will not know what symbol is what and how you should use them at all. However, when you think about this, and if someone will pick this character and just read the ruling, he will understand what's going on. And that's the thing. You will be able to say, okay, I can line up this card with this card, so I will be getting this effect and this effect. On defense, I will play this card, so I will get this symbol, and then later I will be able to play this card with this fancy effect. And that's actually not that difficult to achieve. Even for the beginner players, I would say, maybe not beginner, like so beginner players. But for the players that want to like engage with Unmatched, spend more time with it, it's very simple. This whole like ability is not that difficult. Let me tell you that they will know what they will do. It's not like your deck is bad. Your deck is actually awesome. It's great. You got healing, you got good blocks, you got a lot of blocks, you got very sneaky cards that deal damage, you have high value attacks with Huntsman. You on yourself has 13 health, but you can add all of those healing effects, and now you have like, I don't know, 22 health, not even more. So yeah, you are pretty tanky. Huntsman is very tanky, so if you will make mistake of letting him going in and smacking the opponent without defenses, he will survive unless they will hit him with very like low, like high amount of attacks. So yeah, in my eyes, this whole symbol game is not that difficult. It's difficult to master. Don't get me wrong, mastering this symbol-like playstyle is very difficult. However, I am pretty sure that player who is, who know what he's doing, will just pick her and be fine. However, she's not as easy to put her with those guys, because those guys are shining, just because they have very good cards, very good stats overall, and they are very basic, I would say, but their ability is somewhat like tricky. Here, it is able to like screw up because you may play some of her fancy card effects in the wrong time and don't even use them with effects, and then you just wasted, let's say, I don't know, 6 damage because you played those auto damage cards on defense when there were like no symbols that are triggering the effect. So that's the thing that I see being like actually difficult, but it's not like she's, you know, you're cooked or whatever. If you want to play competitively, then guide is mandatory, yeah, but to this point, nah, you're fine. Beowulf. Oh, wow, oh. Oh my god, this boy is tricky to rank. He is not easy peasy. Why? Because low amount of blocks. You have to know how to manage those blocks. You have a lot of health. I think that's... Nah. He's probably basic character. Yeah, he's probably a basic character. Why so? First of all, you have low amount of blocks, so if you will just run out of them, you are just there to tank damage. You have surprisingly a lot of attacks in your deck, which means you're pretty aggressive, but all of those cards are being played for effects. And that's why the game mastery come into play, because you know, if you there is this scenario when you will use all of your blocks as Beowulf because you don't know the character. That's like, you know, the normal way of living. You don't know the character, so you play out the blocks, and now you have no blocks basically, and that's a problem. Now we are being like slapped, and a lot of your cards are having very like long texts. They are not doing that much, but yeah, there are a lot of decision making about them. Like for example, your sword, yeah, you get to boost it and to boost it to 5, but it's difficult to even... I guess it would be difficult to manage it properly because this whole play style is based around your range management. If you will not manage your range properly, then you will just not win this game, and that's why he is here. He is lower than those guys because he has a lot of health, so he is very forgivable, but forgiving, I mean. But yeah, they will chew through your health bar relatively quickly if you don't know what you are doing. And also, all of the cards that you will play on offense, I'm sorry, you have to know when to play them and how to play them, because there are effects like drawing cards for the opponent. There are effects like getting range. Also, like a lot of you have cards that are straight up baits, like this free value defeat a sidekick is is very bad. And I think beginner players will catch the bait and hit the opponent with this, but yeah, so you have to know that which effect is worth using, and that's the problem. Because if you are a beginner player, you don't want to like make hard decisions about what will be your next move with some management system, that if you will screw up, you will just lose like a ton of value. Like your whole playstyle will just collapse if you will not manage this range properly, and that's very punishing. Those guys are not punishing if you are not playing them correctly. He is very punishing if you will just not spend your range properly and all of your blocks properly. Yep, that's why he's here. Achilles. Achilles is easy peasy. He is probably one of the easiest characters in the game. Why so? Huge health bar, huge blocks, a lot of blocks. Block that is basically like passive 2 block, like you know what I'm talking about, battle hardened, then you have high value attacks, even higher if your sidekick is dead. And I'm pretty sure that if I'm pretty sure that even the newer player, if as newer player, if you read his ability, you know what you will do. You know what you will do, and then you will be hitting the opponent even higher for sixes, sevens, eights, fives, while not dying and while constantly drawing cards. So you will just never have this problem of, oh, I have to draw a card, so I have to retreat. Nah, you don't need to do this. You just get to in combat, bro. And yeah. This is pretty like easy. A lot of things that will just correct your mistakes. Like this huge health bar, opponent will like need to try to chew through it. And in addition, those blocks are just naughty. Like wily fighting is broken on you. Skirmish, you can use it on offense because you have so much health. You have feints. You got battle hardened, like I said. The Partoklis cards are stupid OP. Like if you will just play him Unga Bunga, go in and hit, and then block, you know, some average unmatched game with your family when everyone is going next to your face and hitting you and never retreating. This is like a perfect dude to take. It's similar to Bigfoot. Yeah. This is fair. Oh my god, Bloody Mary. Oh my god. Hmm. Oh my god, I think guys will not understand. But she is somewhat guide is mandatory. I know that is a like big shocker. But let's see. Maybe not maybe not yeah, maybe not this. Maybe like here. Because the thing with Bloody Mary is, oh my god, this is weird. This is getting weird. Probably here. I can decide. Okay, here. She will stay here. I was thinking too much about. That's why I put her the guide is mandatory at the beginning, because I was thinking too much of the free actions game plan where you constantly are forcing yourself to go lower on hand size to get those free cards and then free actions. But then I realized if you will not do this, you are still performing surprisingly great as her. Because your attacks are scary, you got closer and she appears, so even the player that is like new to the game will understand that, oh, I can like combine it with your ability and will be cool. So you get to trigger all of those fancy effects, you know, all of those free action fancy effects with her. So that's fine. So that's cool. And you don't really need to go for this free cards playstyle. You can go if you are like experienced with her, but if you are just wanted to play her because she's like a ghost and you find it cool, you can just pick her and it will be fine because you will be so fine that I think she should be even higher. Yeah. But probably in the very end. She's rising up so quickly. Because you see, you have absolute huge health bar. You don't need to go for free cards in hand playstyle. You can just stack your hand with attacks and just go close to the opponent and hit him. You have high value attacks, like for example this 4 value attack, versatile. Also your blocks are very okay, like this like evasion is okay. Trick of Light is very good against like ranged characters. So there's no. I don't want to discuss the cards. The thing is, your stats are actually good enough to like survive the opponent. Yeah, maybe here. I can't decide with her. This is weird. But yeah, I am putting her lower than he is because eventually I think that you will be lacking damage. And also, yeah, I was talking about you have a lot of those high value blocks, high value everything, but in reality you don't really have those. A lot of your deck is those red cards, and that's not good. There are a lot of complex cards that have a lot of tags, and you also have to know how to be aggressive with her, when to be aggressive, with what cards and what not. So yeah, I will just leave her here, but this is quite a challenge to put her like anywhere because you are always aware of the fact that she's very demanding if you want to play her right, but I guess if you will just pick up the Battle of Legend Volume 2 and want to play her because she's a cool ghost, I think you will be fine by just going in and hitting the opponent with your high value attacks and your free action gain things. Yeah. Wukong. Wukong is easy peasy. Maybe not easy peasy, but you played board games before. And that's because the only thing that you need to understand about Wukong, if you'll pick him up, is the clones. That you need to spawn the clones. At the beginning, you will be like, okay, I can just go in and hit you with my clones. But then you will discover the absolute forbidden technique of like blocking yourself with clones in the like edge of the map. And then Wukong will be easy peasy for you for the rest of your life. But if you are a beginner player, I think you will still find him somewhat like more difficult than those guys, because this ability requires from you to think, and also some of his cards are actually very tricky. Like you can't play the bevilement by just slapping it because it's 0, and then warp somewhere because also some of those cards like this 4 value block that retaliates damage. This is also a card that I believe you can just play by I will just slap it to the ground. Nah, you have to like think of when and how, and there's always this thing that for newer players it will be like less obvious, I think, that your clones are actually so powerful, and they might make the mistake of like, I don't know, blocking clones with something or whatever. But if you played board games before, you understand this whole play style of I'm summoning someone and this summoning thing is just doing everything for me. Yeah, it's so easy. Also, your stats are busted. Sevens, a lot of baits. You get this whole like package of busted blocks. You have a lot of health. You can heal. Yeah, very safe character for the beginner players that want to use a bit more brain. Oh my god, Yennenga. Unfortunately, I think you are cooked. Not as much as Willow, but you are cooked. Her cards are actually difficult. Like, you have to think what you will be doing. You always have to think how to split damage, when to split damage, how to manage this huge health bar, when to like let your archers go, when to play Jaws of the Beast, when to play the action gain card, which a newer player will never understand how to use it. When to use all of those cards that resummon archers, and do I want to resummon my archer or go for action gain? What is the playstyle of, constantly mitigating damage with them and all? Those decisions are very difficult, and in addition, you have something in common with those fighters. Also, it's going like those characters are the hardest, and it goes like that. I'm pretty sure. No one cares, I know. Okay. So this is very difficult fighter. This is like your very harsh character that is all about optimizing your play style and all, and if the beginner player will just pick her, he will be like, okay, I have high value blocks, I have a lot of health, but this character is like not dealing damage. She will not be dealing damage for the newer players, because if you want to deal damage as Yennenga, you have to be actually like strategical about it, tactical about your playstyle, about your whole like game plan, and this is hard thing to achieve. It's similar to Robin, where you are using, and Maldon, where you are using all of your sidekicks, because basically your sidekicks, in case of those three characters, are your whole game plan. And if your sidekicks are not managed properly, you are just collapsing. And yeah, and that's why she is difficult. She's probably the most difficult out of all of them. Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is just Beowulf, but aggressive, and he is surprisingly straightforward. However, he is not for beginners. That's for sure. Let's say here. Ghost Rider is like Beowulf, but with aggressive playstyle. You have this whole, and you got the same thing that Beowulf has going for him. You have huge health bar, not a lot of blocks that are actually great. Ghost Rider has like more blocks than Beowulf, in fact, but it doesn't feel like that. You will like get rid of your huge health bar much quicker than Beowulf. And then you have to manage some kind of resource. This is difficult for newer players, because they don't want to manage any resources, similar to Beowulf, because they're scared of making mistakes. So in case of Ghost Rider, it's similar. And now it's even more difficult, probably. Maybe not, but yeah, still really demanding, because you have to choose between damage, card draw, and sometimes blocks, and sometimes even other things. So this is very weird. Also, a lot of self damage. This whole like 2-value explosion is very mandatory for the victory, and if you are not careful, you will just kill yourself by just blowing it the wrong time. And yeah, if you will just combine it, you will get the similar scenario to Alice and Raptors, that if you will not manage your Hellfire properly, and then if you will be not hitting the opponent in the proper time with the proper cards, you will just make mistake of, I don't know, not running away in the proper time, getting fainted, and then opponent is just destroying you in this moment because your blocks are actually bad. It's similar to Raptors. You can just go in and hit the opponent because hahaha, it's funny, but unfortunately Ghost Rider will punish you for it. He has huge health bar, absolutely, but this huge health bar is like, you will see it's nothing. So it's like Beowulf, but aggressive. Basically, you can, if you are looking at the tier list and thinking of buying the characters, if you like the resource management characters, yeah, just get both of them and then add Tesla. But yeah, they're basically like similar characters, but with different playstyles. Luke Cage is easy. Luke Cage is easy peasy. Probably here. Passive ability to block damage is just wonderful. Like, all beginner players will just love it because they will survive longer, and then they will just hit the opponent with high values. Because Luke Cage has high values. And also he has something like Trash Talk, which will just stop the opponent from attacking and everything. He has cards that push opponent away, that deals damage back. A lot of high values. Nothing else to say. He is just very straightforward. Slap big, block with passive armor. Good. Moon Knight. Oh my god, I forgot this character exists. Moon Knight. Oh, Moon Knight. My boy. Uh, basic character. It's similar case to Little Red, that you have to like line up cards in the proper way, but now there are like no symbols that will show you what you should do in. There will be forms that are just making you play different cards, because He is not beginner friendly for sure, because if you will pick him, you will just fall into madness, which is very thematic, but we don't want this. With Moon Knight, your first games will always be about, oh my god, this is so weird, how do I like deal with this madness? And then after those 2 games you realize, oh my god, he's powerful. Because now he's difficult, because if you will be not hitting the opponent, for example, if you will be not hitting the opponent as Kanshu with the proper cards, you're probably just dead. I mean, not dead, but you will be lacking damage. If you will not like keep all of those big blocks on other forms, and then save all of those like worse blocks on Mr. Knight turn, then you also making mistake, and you have to keep this in mind. And I think for beginners it's kind of difficult to know where certain card will be working the best, because your deck, I will not be like sugar like talking it, all of his deck, all of his cards are having use only in the proper form if you will use them. Otherwise, if you will use, for example, like, I don't know, Travelers of the Night as Mr. Knight, I'm so sorry, but that's a huge mistake. You should not do this. You should use it with Kanshu. Madness will keep you alive, for example, you should use as Moon Knight, because it's great combo potential with your ability. You see, there are a lot of things that are combining themselves depending of which form you are in, which is very like entertaining, and you can even find some ways around it, so that's cool to make some other crazy combos. But those are things that you are doing by mastering the character, and if you will not use those cards in the proper forms, you will just lack damage, you will just get destroyed, and yeah, you don't want this. You just don't want this. Let's just say it. If you will not use your Kanshu to deal damage because, I don't know, you got countered by the opponent, or if you didn't use your Mr. Knight to get close to the opponent and not close to the opponent to just recover your hand, and then in Moon Knight to jump close to the opponent, you will just not win. And this is the character that has actually very high skill floor, but skill ceiling is I wouldn't say that high, if you will understand him. Daredevil. Oh my god, Daredevil. Daredevil is easy. He's not easy peasy, but he's easy. Maybe here. The thing with Daredevil is it's very tempting to use his ability, and I guess newer players will just try to like use it. However, the thing with Daredevil is I'm placing it here because his stats are decent. You got tons of health, tons of healing, potentially infinite. You got a lot of free value blocks. You got great pings, I mean great schemes that ping the opponent. You got Briefer that returns, and you have 4 value attacks that recover cards. So if you will think about this as Daredevil, you are constantly playing this game of maybe not always, but if you will just going close to the opponent and hitting him. And if you're an experienced player, I mean you played board games before, you will quickly understand that Devil of Hell's Kitchen is broken. Because you know that getting cards back into your deck in the game when fatigue exists is busted. So, you will just play this card and probably they will faint it, but then you will see the Briefer and you will take it back with Briefer because you understand what's the like ideal character is. And then you will just do it again, and eventually you will be having infinite deck. And infinite, like whatever you want at this point. You can have infinite healing playstyle, infinite movement playstyle, infinite pink playstyle, infinite big damage playstyle. Yeah, so he's not that difficult. If you just play him normally by going in, smacking, sometimes recovering, and those things, he's very like straightforward. And that's it. He also has like great stats in my mind, because having healing, having 3 value blocks and 4 value attacks, and also movement, is thing that is basically helping new players like so much, so much. Daredevil is, you played board games before, he's very simple, very fun if you just understand the briefer and Devil of Hell's Kitchen. Elektra is yeah, guide is mandatory. Hear me out. You will never understand how to like play as Elektra unless you will watch the guide. You will never understand this. Because if you are new to the... I'm sorry, wait a second, I need to plug my laptop. Yeah. Because if you are a newer player, you will look at her ability and be like, oh, that's cool, but yeah, there will be nothing you will do about this except it's cool. And then you will watch the guide about which card should you use, how should you like block yourself with ninjas, and all of that fancy stuff. You will just realize that you can just stay in the corner with ninjas the whole game and then resurrect and do the combo on the opponent. Let's be real, no one will understand how to do this whole OTK thing as Elektra unless they will watch the guide. And this is like the huge part of your whole strategy. It's not like you will do this every turn because opponent will be countering it, but if you watch the guide and your opponent is like, you know, some normal unmatched player you play for fun, he will just get obliterated by this combo. But if you will not do this combo, you will get obliterated instead. And she is very powerfully competitive, but in normal game, she is actually weak, very weak, because players, not beginner players, don't want to like stay in the corner of the map and just run away. Even if you play Wukong, you are still like interacting with the opponent by your clones, but with her, no, the playstyle is just to stay somewhere and just wait to die. No one will understand this unless they will watch a guide how to like play the Elektra. Change my mind. She is not beginner friendly at all. Beginners will just die, they will resurrect, and they will just get slapped again with someone like Bigfoot, Achilles, all of those characters. Because they will want to fight the opponent, like have fun match of going in and hitting each other constantly. Nah, she is not accepting this type of playstyle. She just wants to like sit there, wait for the assassination in after her resurrection. Also, you have to keep cards in hand. You have to get this whole combo before you die. And if you are a new player, you will never understand which cards you want to keep. Like, never. Yeah, you need a guide to understand how to play this character. Bullseye. Hmm. That's weird. I feel he's similar to Robin in case that he got power crept. He has still a huge potential doing combo on you, but I think he's somewhere here. Probably close to Ghost Rider. Because it's similar case. If you'll pick Bullseye as a new player, you'll be like, oh, this ability is very cool, very fun. But then you will look at his deck and you will be like, oh, I have to win combat to do anything. And this will be rough, man. Let me tell you that. It will be rough until you will get the proper cards. And if you will be playing him, like, as a new player, it will be so rough. It will be cool for you to shoot the opponent from distance, but the moment he will get close to you, you are in huge danger and you will probably take some damage. Nah, Bullseye is very risky. Also, you will not understand yet that action game playstyle is so powerful on him. His cards for the next trick is basically his whole deck, and you will just not understand it if you are playing him as a new player. So you will just lose a lot of games and then will be like, I don't want to play with this guy anymore. And that's fair, because he is not designed for new players. He is designed for players that want to like do some cheesy things with the zones and with the fighters that like to bunker themselves, like those guys. They want to pick this hero and just be annoying. But he is not designed for newer players. He is just very risky, very low blocks. The requirement to win the combat to do anything, yeah, just basically a character for the people that are, want to spend more time with Unmatched. Sattler. Oh. Oh boy, Sattler is definitely you play the game, the board games. She is not difficult. You will understand the symbols very quickly, not symbols, the inside tokens very quickly. Then you will just survive, because Sattler has very good blocks. Surprisingly, they are not high, but they are very good. And then you will see woman inherits the earth, and you will be like, oh, I can heal myself, and you will be healing yourself, and you will never die. So so the one thing is, this is already a good thing for the beginners. You have huge health bar. Your cards are kind of sucking, but they're not sucking to the point that you'll die, because they suck so much, like Ghost Rider, Bullseyes, Robins, and all Muldoon. Your cards are low, but they're actually decent, and you have tons of healing. The problem starts to show up when you need to kill the opponent. However, you have the card called you never had the control, and if you are a newer player, you will probably understand that, okay, I can just walk around a little, get some insight tokens on the board, and then I will hit you and I will deal you some damage. And if you are playing for fun, you will deal some damage. Overall, this character is well solid for the beginners, because she's basically like a character with high stats, with huge blocks, because you have a lot of healing, so you can translate it to high blocks, and with high attacks, because you can translate your 7 value insight token attacks are as high. But it requires extra steps. With Wukong, you need to spawn a clone and then close to the opponent, hit them with Spike, you need to put them on inside and Shadow token. With Sherlock, you need to discard their cards and all. And she is about getting the inside tokens and then hitting the opponent or healing them or healing yourself. Yeah, simple. Who is simple also is T-Rex, and I think T-Rex is maybe not beginner friendly, but she's somewhat high on. You played board games before, I guess. I think here. Why so? One move. The answer is you are moving for one space. That will be so tough for the new players to understand why you will just move one space. This will be pain, because now you have to boost, you have to use your schemes to get close to them, and this playstyle is somewhat difficult to understand. Let me tell you that. Maybe not hard to understand, but hard to optimize properly. And if you don't know how to move, with which card you should boost or whatever, they will be just you will be scary for the new players, but the only thing you need to understand why T-Rex is difficult for new players is to play against a range character that has high attacks. And then problems are starting to show up, because you don't have a lot of blocks. You have huge health bar, so that's the massive beginner friendly thing, but this health bar is there because a lot of cards are hurting you. Yep. That's not cool. And this huge health bar, if you add up all of auto damage that you dealt to yourself, if you add up them, it will probably turns out that you are something like 14-15 health fighter, straight up. If you add up the damage. And also drawing card every turn will make that you will enter the fatigue damage very quickly, and now you will be, as new player, you will be like very angry that you enter this fatigue moment, you don't have cards to play, and you don't want to play unmatched and T-Rex anymore. So yeah, this is very risky for the beginners. However, if you want to like find some cool aggressive character that wants to like go in and hit the opponent all the time, T-Rex is there for you. You just need to like understand how to do this quickly and how to optimize your movement. Houdini. Oh no. No, those two guys are here. And this guy is here, probably the highest, and Houdini is very close. I'm putting them there together because they're based around this 1 turn kill or 2 turns kill. And if you will not do it in the proper way, you can just don't play the fighter anymore. I'm sorry. If you don't know how to do this, I mean, it's not impossible to find this combo on yourself and then they are like here. But let's be honest, it's not that easy, especially with Houdini. Because with Houdini you got a lot of those cards that are doing those fancy things, but to find this sneaky OTK on him is somewhat challenging. He is not as forgiving also as Genie. Because his health is lower, his blocks are ass, and his attacks are also, his attacks are great, but if you will just not go in and do this OTK on the opponent, you will just not win the game and you will just get destroyed probably because you have low health. So now you have to watch the guide of how to do this combo because you can't win as Houdini. And with Genie it's even worse because now you will look at his deck and you will try to go close to the opponent and hit him, but then you will realize, okay, I don't have damage. And then you will draw 3 wishes. It will be like, oh my god. What a crazy scheme. This is like busted. What should I do with this? And yeah. You have to like search up for the guide and like realize that you basically need 2 free wishes at 1 turn to go in, discard opponent's card, change your values to 4, and then just kill him by playing this card, then action gain, this card, action gain, you don't know what's going on. But opponent is dead. And this is probably the most important thing, and also he should be like lower. You will just not be able to play this character without a guide. He was made for a guide, like playstyle, like I mean, he's not simple. This box is overall very difficult. Even map is harsh as fuck. And yeah, this will be crazy. And if you will try to play them just by going in and hitting the opponent with your I mean 4 value attacks are okay, but you will don't do anything and then you will just get stomped because your blocks are so bad. Yeah. And I think we'll finish it here. As the first video, we finished somewhere around Genie Houdini, and I already see that it's like 2 hours. Almost 2 hours. So I prefer to finish it here, boys. As you can see, we have like a lot of guys to go in the next video, but I don't want to rush it. And as I said, if your character is not here, your favorite character is not here, just wait like like 2 weeks. I guarantee you it will be there. And for now I will the next video will be about the Genie, about 3 wishes, like we discussed. I already know what we'll be talking about, but yeah, the part 2 will come soon. I don't know if I place them correctly, but if you are a newer player, I think, yeah, those fighters are very good. very good if you start with Unmatched. Those fighters are if you want to investigate, like get a little bit more from Unmatched. Those fighters are great because they are still simple, but not too simple. There are some tweaks, and those characters are where you probably like going into Unmatched. You will get those fighters and you will start to testing up some different cool things, and that's what this tier is about. All like cool things: T-Rex, Bloody Mary, Little Red, Moon Knight. All of those fighters are about some cool things, cool scenarios that you can do with them, and that's why they're here. And those are the characters that you need to learn actually to understand how to play against your odds, how to mitigate bad effects, how to mitigate bad playstyle and all. And those characters you just need a guide to actually understand what you are doing, because otherwise you will just get stomped by all of those simple characters. But yeah, that's it. I will just not keep you here for longer, so I will end it here. Thanks for watching and see you in the next 2 weeks with the part 2. Bye.